The room is busy in a typical school hours. A student named Alchan took an interest in poetry writing.
But Alchan seems to be struggling to connect with its creativity of trying to write a good poem. Alchan have acquired a partner to help him choose what poem should he write. He approached and asked her. The young girl recalls the three main types of poetry. Let's see what she recommends. The young boys still don't know what to write, although writing lyric poems is an effective way to illustrate writer's perspective. He still have two types to consider. He asked the other seatmate of him and the seatmate answers. Dramatic. There are still one type that he don't know, so he tried to ask his other classmate. Ryza explained to him about narrative poetry. And finally, Alchan already figured out what poem would he write. There are three types of poetry. The narrative, you can tell that the poem is narrative when it tells a story. The second one is lyric, a short poem with song-like qualities. And also dramatic, which is written in verse and meant to be recited in public or acted out. The lyric poems has three types: the sonnet, ode, and elegy.
Lyrical poetry is sonnet. When we said sonnet is a popular classical form which developed in the 16th century. Sonnet contains a one-stanza, 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter. When we said iambic pentameter, this means a line that contains 5 iambs, two-syllable pairs in which the second syllable is emphasized.
Of lyrical poem is elegy, a poem of serious reflection, typically a lament for the dead. Elegy, meditative lyric poem lamenting the death of a public personage or of a friend or loved one, by extension, and reflective lyric or the broader theme of human mortality.
Of elegy. There are two types. Is the personal elegy. The poet laments the death of some close friend or relative. And the second one in impersonal elegy, in which the poet grieves over human destiny or over some aspect of contemporary life and literature. Poetry is ode. Ode is a lyric poem usually marked by exaltation of feeling and style, varying length of line and complexity of stanza form.
Next is the narrative poem. There are also three types of narrative poem: the epic, ballad, and social.
An epic poem is a long narrative poem that's usually about the heroic deed and events that are significant to the cultures of the poem.
Ballad poems, what makes it narrative poetry is it also tells a story, like epic poems. However, ballad poetry is often based on legend or a folktale. Most ballads are written in 4 to 6 stanzas and as a regular rhyme and rhyme schemes. A ballad often features a refrain or a regular repeated lines or group of lines,
which perform a social function or contain level of social commentary. The term seems to have first appeared as translation from the original Spanish Poesia Media, used to describe the post-Spanish Civil War poetry movement of the 1950s and 60s.
The third type, which is dramatic poem, also has 3 types: the dramatic monologue, soliloquy, and character sketch. Monologue. From the word monologue, a long speech that performed by the actor in one play. Dramatic in the sense that it has theatrical quality. That is, the poem is meant to be read to an audience. The reason poets choose to write poems like this is to express a point of view through the words of character. When you are familiar to the play Romeo and Juliet, it is one of the best known and significant monologues from the play in the sense that they are spoken. where Romeo and even Juliet can express their thoughts, feelings, and emotion through this type of poetry.
One of the types of a dramatic poetry is a soliloquy. Soliloquy is a monologue in which a character in a play expresses his or her feelings and thoughts while being alone on stage. Soliloquies allows dramatists to communicate information about the character's state of mind, hopes, and intentions directly to the audience. A character sketch is a poem in which the author's purpose is to describe the character's appearance. A character sketch is a poem in which the author's purpose is to describe the character's appearance. Character sketch, the reader should get the general idea about the nature of the character.
Is a Japanese form of poetry that consists of short and rhyme lines. These lines can take various forms of brief verses. Structure of haiku. Traditionally, a haiku is a Japanese poem featuring 3 lines and consisting of simple yet impactful words and phrases.
Limerick. A limerick is a form of verse, usually humorous and frequently rude. In 5 line predominantly, 2nd and 5th line rhyme, while the 3rd and 4th lines are shorter and share and different rhyme. Limericks follow repeated patterns. They often with line. Example, there was someone for somewhere, or there was a someone who something.
According to Education Destination Malaysia, there are 5 benefits of writing a poetry. First is it improves language skills. The process of writing poetry can build vocabulary. Individuals will learn how to incorporate new words while writing and understand their meanings. Poetry can also be performed live, also known as a poetry slam. Public speaking skills can be improved as well through performing. Second is it sparks creative thinking. Creativity is important when it comes to writing poetry. When someone writes a poem, it forces their brain to come up with creative ways to form sentences to create the structures of a poem. Rhyming is the most common literary device used in poetry. Writers need to be creative in making sure the poem has a flow and the meaning is successfully conveyed. Third is it creates self-awareness. Poetry writing helps people discover who they are. It helps individuals stay in tune with their thoughts and feelings. Through writing, a person can find out more about their personality, likes and dislikes, passions and interests. You can also use poetry as a therapeutic activity. The activity of poetry writing is not only healthy for the mind but for the soul as well. Poetry is an outlet to express frustration, anger, and negative thoughts in a safe way. And lastly, it expands worldviews. Those who are passionate about poetry have a chance to widen their world values. They can draw inspiration from what is going on in the world today and turn them into important poems.